Senior Archivist ZX-427 carefully adjusted the sensors on their ship, the Eternal Knowledge, as it entered orbit around the blue-green planet designated as Sol 3. Their large, silvery eyes reflected the planet's image on multiple screens while their four-fingered hands moved swiftly across the control panel. Initial scans complete, Senior Archivist reported Junior Researcher CLA 891, their skin shifting from its normal peaceful blue to a slightly anxious green. But there seems to be an error in the readings. ZX-427 floated across the bridge, their anti-gravity harness humming softly. The Orcs had evolved beyond the need for legs millions of years ago, considering physical contact with the ground primitive. "Show me," they commanded. The screens displayed energy signatures spreading across the planet's surface like a glowing web. Artificial structures dotted every continent, and millions of moving objects filled both the ground and lower atmosphere. ZX-427's skin rippled with disbelief. "This is impossible," they whispered. "Our records show no spacefaring civilization in this sector. This planet should be empty except for basic life forms." They checked the quarantine beacons that their ancestors had placed around this solar system thousands of years ago. All were still active, still broadcasting their warning signals. The ship's AI spoke up, its voice calm and measured. "Senior Archivist, I detect approximately 8 billion sentient life forms on the surface. They appear to be evolving at an unprecedented rate." The entire research team gathered around the main display, their collective skin colors shifting through shades of anxiety. According to the Galactic Archives, every civilization followed the same pattern: achieve peace, end physical evolution, develop space travel. It was the natural order. But these creatures, these humans, they were different. "Look at their cities," said Security Officer VEC 670, pointing at the thermal images. "They're not organized in logical patterns. They're chaotic, spreading like some kind of infection across the surface." ZX-427 initiated a deeper scan, breaking several research protocols in their growing curiosity. The results made their skin turn almost white with shock. "They're still fighting each other," they announced, their voice trembling. "Not just with words or ideas like civilized beings, but with physical weapons. They're still killing each other." The team watched in horror as their scanners revealed more details about human civilization. They had split the atom but still burned fossil fuels. They had mapped their own genome, but continued to let natural selection influence their evolution. They had created artificial intelligence, but still relied on their primitive biological brains for crucial decisions. "This violates everything we know about civilizational development," muttered CLA 891. "They should have destroyed themselves centuries ago. It defies all logical progression models." ZX-427 made a decision that went against centuries of research protocols. "We need to study them more closely. Prepare for detailed surface scans, full spectrum analysis. If they've survived despite maintaining such primitive behaviors, they must have some secret we don't understand." As the Eternal Knowledge adjusted its orbit for a more detailed study, none of the Orcs team realized that they had just made their first mistake. They assumed that humanity's survival despite its primitive nature was the mystery to be solved. They didn't consider that perhaps it was precisely these primitive traits that had made humanity not just survive, but thrive. Their second mistake was assuming they were the ones doing the observing. Far below, in a hidden facility deep beneath the Earth's surface, a single computer screen lit up with a simple message: "Unidentified object in orbit. Protocol Watchful Eye activated. Senior Archivist, you need to see this immediately." CLA 891's voice echoed through the ship's communication system, their usual calm completely gone. Their skin had turned an alarming shade of purple, indicating extreme distress. ZX-427 quickly floated to the research lab, where multiple screens showed thermal images of human settlements during their night cycle. What they saw made them freeze in horror. This can't be right. Zix 427 whispered. Run the scans again. The AI confirmed what they were seeing. Scans are accurate. Senior archivist. Every night, approximately 1/3 of the human population enters a state of near death, while their brains remain highly active. The research team watched in fascination and fear as billions of humans lay down in special furniture called beds and willingly entered this death-like state called sleep. Their body temperatures dropped, their movements ceased, and their consciousness appeared to fade. But why? VEC 670 asked, their security training making them especially nervous. Why would an entire species regularly practice dying? The answer came as they analyzed human brain activity during sleep. The sleeping humans weren't just resting. They were experiencing intense visions called dreams. The team watched in horror as human brain scans revealed dreams filled with fighting, running, flying, and other impossible scenarios. Their training. Zix 427 realized, their skin turning gray with shock. Even when they're practicing death, they're preparing for battle. Look at their hormone levels when they wake up. They're stronger after each sleep cycle. The team discovered something even more terrifying. Humans who didn't get enough sleep became unstable and aggressive. They needed this practice death to function properly. Without it, they became more dangerous. Access the Human Information Network, Zix 427 ordered. The AI compiled data about human sleep studies, and what they found was worse than they imagined. Humans can go to war in their dreams. HFY 891 reported, reading through the data. They call it nightmare. Instead of being traumatized by these fear visions, they use them to prepare for real dangers. Some even seek out these terror dreams for entertainment. VEC 670 looked at their own species' history. The Orcs had evolved beyond the need for sleep millions of years ago, considering it a primitive waste of time. They took pride in being conscious and logical every moment of their lives. Senior archivist, VEC 670 said quietly, what kind of species becomes stronger by practicing death every day? What kind of mind remains active even when the body is defenseless? How can they trust each other enough to sleep in groups? Before Zix 427 could answer, the ship's warning system activated. On the screens, they watched as military bases across Earth suddenly became active. Humans were waking up for their morning cycle, and their first action was to check their weapons and defenses. Now we know why the quarantine beacons were placed here, Zix 427 said softly. These humans, they've mastered death itself. They've turned their evolutionary weakness into a strength. Every day, they die and return stronger. The team watched as billions of humans woke up, their bodies and minds refreshed, ready for another day of survival. In their sleep-practicing culture, the Orcs saw something they had never encountered before, a species that had turned its most vulnerable moments into its greatest advantage. Unknown to them, in the facility deep beneath Earth's surface, another message appeared. Alien vessel maintaining orbit. Biological scans detected. Initiating protocol Silent Thunder. The research team of the Eternal Knowledge had been watching human recreational activities for 3 Earth days when Medical Officer TIN 756 discovered something that made their skin turn completely white with shock. Senior Archivist TIN 756 called out, their voice shaking. These humans, they're deliberately poisoning themselves. Zix 427 floated quickly to the medical lab. On the screens, they saw humans in various locations consuming small, colorful objects that caused obvious physical distress. The humans called these things hot peppers. Look at their pain responses. TIN 756 pointed at the data. Their bodies are literally burning from the inside. They're sweating, their heart rates are elevated, and their pain receptors are screaming. And yet, they're laughing. The team watched in horror as humans not only survived these self-inflicted chemical attacks, but seemed to enjoy them. Some even competed to eat the most painful substances. That's not all. HFY 891 added, bringing up more research data. They have something called exercise. They deliberately damage their muscle fibers and stress their cardiovascular systems for fun. The screens showed humans lifting heavy objects repeatedly, running until exhaustion, and fighting each other in controlled environments called gyms and dojos. Instead of avoiding pain and conserving energy like any logical species, humans actively sought out physical strain. This makes no sense. VEC 670 said, their security training unable to process what they were seeing. They have machines and robots that could do all this physical work. Why do they choose to suffer? ZIX 427 studied the data carefully. Because they get stronger, they realized. Every time they survive pain, they adapt to it. Look at these readings. Their pain tolerance increases, their muscles grow back stronger, their endurance improves. But the most terrifying discovery came when they analyzed human entertainment. The team watched in disbelief as humans deliberately scared themselves with horror movies, simulated death in video games, and jumped from high places with parachutes for excitement. They don't just endure suffering. Tyne 756 whispered. They've turned it into a game. They've made pain into pleasure. The AI compiled more data. Humans created spicy food challenges, extreme sports competitions, and endurance races. They climbed frozen mountains, dove into deep oceans, and explored dangerous caves, all voluntarily, all for what they called fun. No wonder our ancestors quarantined this system, VEC 670 said. These humans, they're like a virus that grows stronger from every attempt to kill it. They deliberately expose themselves to dangers just to prove they can survive them. Suddenly, the ship's sensors detected a new energy signature from Earth. In their hidden facility, humans had activated something massive. Energy spike detected, the AI reported. Humans are testing what appears to be a plasma containment system. Temperature readings exceed anything in our database. They're playing with starfire, HFY 891 said in disbelief. They're deliberately trying to contain the same forces that power suns. ZIX 427 watched the screens with growing unease. The humans had failed to contain the plasma, but instead of abandoning the project, they were already analyzing their failure and preparing to try again. They don't fear failure or pain, ZIX 427 said quietly. Every disaster, every injury, every close call, it's all just practice to them. They've turned the entire concept of suffering into a tool for advancement. In the Earth facility far below, a new message flashed. Alien biosignatures analyzed. Weakness identified. Protocol Iron Rain standing by. Language specialist NEP 219 had not slept. Not that the Orcs needed sleep. For 6 Earth days straight. Their skin had taken on a sickly yellow color as they studied human communication patterns. Senior archivist. They called, their voice trembling. I've discovered something disturbing about human social behavior. ZIX 427 moved to NEP 219 station, where multiple screens displayed human conversations from various sources, something called social media, workplace interactions, and family gatherings. They form bonds through shared suffering, NEP 219 explained, pointing to the data. Look at these military units. They become closer by surviving hardships together. Even their schools and workplaces use group challenges to build what they call team spirit. The team watched footage of human military training, where groups endured harsh conditions together and emerged more unified. They saw office workers becoming friends after surviving difficult projects, and students bonding over hard exams. But that's not the most terrifying part, NEP 219 continued. They have this thing called humor. They laugh at pain and misfortune. The screens showed humans sharing jokes and memes about their struggles, failures, and even their deepest fears. Instead of being traumatized by hardship, they turned it into entertainment. "Watch this," NEP 219 said, displaying more footage. They deliberately embarrass each other in something called pranks, and then both the attacker and victim often laugh together. HFY 891, who had joined them, turned a pale shade of green. They're using psychological warfare on their friends for fun. Exactly, NEP 219 exclaimed. And look at their casual conversations. They constantly engage in teasing and roasting, mock attacks that somehow make their social bonds stronger. The AI added more data to their analysis. Humans often showed affection through playful insults, built trust through shared hardships, and used humor to cope with everything from minor inconveniences to major disasters. They're pack predators, VEC 670 real. Science officer Rick 103 stared at their research screens with growing horror. After a week of studying human scientific methods, their skin had taken on a deep purple color that pulsed with anxiety. "Senior archivist," they called out, their voice shaking. The humans, they deliberately proved themselves wrong. They attacked their own beliefs. ZIX 427 moved to the science station, where multiple screens showed the history of human scientific discoveries. The Orcs team watched in disbelief as humans repeatedly destroyed their own theories and celebrated being proven wrong. "Look at this," Rick 103 pointed to historical data. "When humans discover they're wrong about something, they don't hide it. They publish their failures and invite others to prove them wrong again." The team observed footage of scientific experiments where humans tested their own theories to the breaking point. They saw debates where scientists happily admitted their mistakes when shown better evidence. This isn't just about science, HFY 891 added, analyzing more data. They sent thousands of robots to die on other planets just to learn about them. They built a massive machine underground just to smash tiny particles together to see what happens. The screens showed various human space missions. The Orcs watched as humans celebrated even when their machines crashed on distant planets, because each failure taught them something new. Their curiosity is completely illogical, VEC 670 said, their security training making them nervous. Look at their space program. They're willing to risk their lives just to see what's out there. Rick 103 brought up more data about human research methods. They have something called peer review, where they invite other humans to attack their work. And this scientific method, they treat every idea as potentially wrong. The AI added its analysis. Humans appear to value questions more than answers. They have a saying, "Science is not about finding the truth, but about reducing uncertainty." ZIX 427 watched footage of human children in schools, asking endless questions about everything. Unlike Orcs children, who learned to accept knowledge, human children were encouraged to challenge it. They're like hunters, ZIX 427 realized. But instead of hunting prey, they hunt ignorance itself. Every question is a weapon. Every doubt is a tool. Suddenly, the ship's sensors detected new activity from the human facility below. The humans were scanning the eternal knowledge with increasingly complex instruments. "Warning," the AI announced. "Humans are using multiple methods to study our ship. They appear to be testing different scientific approaches simultaneously." The team watched as humans used everything from basic telescopes to quantum sensors to study their vessel. Each failed attempt just led to new methods. "They're learning about us," VEC 670 said with growing concern. "Every scan that fails teaches them something new. They're hunting us with their curiosity." ZIX 427 looked at the data with new understanding. Now we know why they advanced so quickly. They've turned the pursuit of knowledge into a predatory act. They don't just learn. They stalk understanding like prey. In the Earth facility far below, screens lit up with new data. A message appeared. Operation Wisdom Hunt progressing. Multiple approaches yielding results. As expected, each failure is teaching us more. They won't see us coming until it's too late. Medical Officer TIN 756 had spent days studying human medical practices. Their normally smooth skin had developed rough patches from stress as they compiled their report. Senior Archivist, they called, their voice barely a whisper. You need to see this. The humans, they don't just fight death. They play with it. Zix 427 joined them at the medical station. The screen showed various human medical procedures that made the entire Orcs team's skin ripple with horror. They cut themselves open on purpose, TIN 756 explained, displaying surgery footage. They call it surgery. They deliberately stop their hearts to fix them. They remove and replace organs like machine parts. The team watched as human doctors performed open-heart surgeries, organ transplants, and brain operations. Unlike the Orcs, who had evolved beyond the need for invasive medicine, humans had turned surgery into an art form. That's not even the worst part, HFY 891 added, bringing up more medical records. Look at what they call vaccines. They deliberately inject themselves with weakened diseases to become stronger. The screen showed the history of human vaccination. The Orcs were shocked to see humans purposely exposing themselves to deadly diseases in controlled amounts. Their whole approach to medicine is backwards, TIN 756 said. Instead of avoiding death, they study it obsessively. They practice dying to learn how to live. VEC 670 analyzed the security implications. They have places called hospitals where they regularly stop and restart hearts. They freeze bodies to prevent death. They can even bring people back from clinical death. The AI compiled more data about human medical innovations, artificial hearts, mechanical limbs, brain-computer interfaces. Each discovery showed humans refusing to accept the natural limits of their bodies. Look at their medical training, Zix 427 said, pointing to footage of medical schools. They practice on dead bodies to learn how to save living ones. They treat death itself as just another problem to solve. Suddenly, the ship's sensors detected unusual activity from multiple human medical facilities worldwide. Warning, the AI announced. Humans are activating advanced medical scanning equipment. They appear to be studying our biological weaknesses. The team watched as history analyst BEM 334's skin had turned completely transparent from shock, a rare condition among the Orcs. They had spent the last Earth week studying human historical records, and what they found defied all logic. Senior Archivist, they call their voice unnaturally steady. I think I know why humans are so different. They've survived everything. Zix 427 and the entire research team gathered around the history station. The screen showed a timeline of human civilization, marked with countless disasters and near-extinction events. Look at this, BEM 334 pointed to the data. Ice ages, plagues, world wars, natural disasters. Any one of these should have wiped them out. But each time, they came back stronger. The team watched recordings of human history. They saw cities destroyed by earthquakes, rebuilt bigger than before. They saw diseases kill millions, only for humans to develop better medicines and healthcare. This makes no sense, VEC 670 said, studying the military history. They had weapons that could destroy their entire planet. They nearly used them, but instead of dying out, they turned that same technology into power plants and medical tools. HFY 891 analyzed environmental data. They almost destroyed their own atmosphere, killed their oceans, and wiped out countless species. But look, they're using that knowledge to learn how to terraform other planets. The AI added more historical analysis. Humans have faced extinction-level events approximately every 100 years. Each time, their population drops, but their technology and resilience increase significantly. It's like their addiction to survival, TIN 756 observed. When The entire crew of the Eternal Knowledge gathered on the bridge. After 2 Earth weeks of study, their combined research had led them to a terrifying conclusion. Senior Archivist Zix-427's skin shifted through multiple colors as they prepared to make their final decision. "The report is ready," Zix-427 announced, their voice heavy. "But I don't think we should send it." The screens around them showed their findings. Humans who practiced death every night through sleep, who turned pain into pleasure through exercise and spicy food, who attacked their own beliefs through science, who danced with death through medicine, and who grew stronger from every disaster. "Look at what they're doing right now," Vex 670 said, pointing to the tactical displays. Earth's military forces had arranged themselves in a perfect defensive pattern, ready for any possible attack. Yet their soldiers were sharing jokes about first contact and making bets on alien biology. "They know we're here," Kla 891 added. "They've been studying us just as we studied them. But instead of panicking, they're treating it like another challenge to overcome." The AI displayed its final analysis. Human responses combine multiple survival strategies: military preparation, scientific curiosity, medical readiness, and social bonding through humor. They are treating our presence as both a potential threat and a learning opportunity. NEP 219 brought up their communica.